happening now at 6. We're continuing to track the two threats from what was Hurricane Ida. We're looking at the tornado threat and the flooding threat. I will break it down for you.
Ida's power on display. 7 News on your side, team coverage surveying damage there and across the region. Then, Ida proves deadly. An apartment filled with floodwater.
7 News on your side with the question here tonight. Why did this scene get so dangerous so fast?
And big tornado that was captured on video near Annapolis today. Take a look at your screen. Both, that's a split screen on the left and the right. Somebody on the right side, you can see they're in their car shooting out the window. The storm's cleared, though, and then SkyTrack 7 found a line of damaged homes in the path. But thankfully, we're not getting any reports of anyone being hurt.
That is the good news so far. At the same time, though, flooding, and it continues right now in Frederick. In a moment, we will take you there to show you just how bad conditions are this evening.
And 7 News is on your side, monitoring conditions in Storm Track and Mobile Track 7. Mobile Track is in the Annapolis area. Storm Track is headed toward Frederick.
We have team coverage for you across the region, starting right now with Justin Hinton, Brad Bell, and Kevin Lewis with the damage and conditions in Maryland.
But let's start it off with our chief meteorologist, Bill Kelly. And Bill, you know, still some very dangerous storms out there as we begin this hour.
Absolutely, and we're getting our next wave that's pushing closer to the D.C. metro. Brand new information continues to funnel in. In fact, this just came down in the last few minutes in Prince William County at 5:45, so only 15 minutes ago. There is a report of a large tree through the roof of a house in the 18,000 block of Kenrill Road. That's in Triangle. So we're continuing to see this, and now we have our next batch of rain that has moved into the D.C. area. That's northwest D.C. Let me take you to the radar and show you specifically where it is. We do not have any severe warnings at this time, but man, we're getting another round of some moderate to heavy rainfall that's coming down, and this is going to be blinding rain at this hour from D.C. right through Alexandria and Arlington over here to National Harbor and to Prince George's County. And we go a little farther off to the south, some of these heavier bands as well, moving into Charles County from King George County. Now, the good news here, let me talk about the severe weather threat. We have a tornado watch that remains in effect from D.C. and areas to the east. It is not to the west. This is up until 7 o'clock tonight. We're going to monitor the flooding. Right now, most of those flood warnings are up to the north. The one in Shenandoah County just got tailored back a little bit south of Woodstock. But the flooding to the north is where we are seeing some significant problems. Couple more hours, and this will be completely gone, and a completely different forecast. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Bill, thanks very much. I want to give you a close look at that tornado again that was shot by a number of people out in the area today. The viewers in Annapolis saw this and they started videotaping. It was extremely damaging, tearing apart homes in Edgewater and damaging a nearby school. We're going to check in with our Justin Hinton, who's on the scene, in just a minute. First, though, our Victoria Sanchez is in Storm Track 7. She just pulled up to a flooded street in Lewistown, Maryland, in Frederick County, and that's an area prone to flooding, but man, is that a mess behind you. This is where a school bus got stuck as well, Victoria.
Yeah, Jonathan, we were actually on our way to that school bus where 10 kids were stuck with the driver. They're okay. They were able to get rescued. But look at this. This is covering this area. We don't even know how deep it is because the 2 yellow lines that are on the road, they get lost in the muddy water. So we are about 6 miles south of Thurmont, and I spoke to a resident who's lived here for nearly 60 years. He told me he's never seen flooding like this. He says he's just going to wait it out. I'm live in Lewistown. Victoria Sanchez, 7 News.
Thank you, Victoria. And flooding, as you can see right there from that picture, remains a very serious threat right now, especially in Frederick. That's where Maryland Bureau Chief Brad Bell took these pictures just a short time ago. He joins us there. And Brad, the water is still rising.
Well, actually, I'm going to say that the water has started to recede, but it is still roaring. This is Carroll Creek, supposed to be over there. This is supposed to be a walking path in Baker Park. You can see the lights that mark the path. That is under about 3-4 feet of water. And we're going to come down a little bit farther here so we can get past the sign and show you a different angle across at this home over there. The water got within, I think, about 6 inches of the landscaping, the foundation landscaping at that home, and had to be a very nervous time for that homeowner. I haven't been able to speak to him, but if there's a basement, it's definitely flooded. Now, all across Frederick, Victoria showed you a flooded out road, closed road. Well, this is College Avenue in the heart of Frederick, and you can see it is underwater. Department of Public Works has someone over there blocking it because every now and then, occasionally, someone comes running through. I say that the water is receding because I left a mark. I put a stick actually on this road, and I know where it was and how far down it's come, and it seems to be coming down fairly quickly. It rained here all day long, but this afternoon from about 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, the skies opened up, and this flood happened in a flash. That's where they get the name, flash flood. Happened in about an hour. The creek was already roaring, but it came up and over the banks. It is a sight to see. It hasn't happened like this in this town for several years now. In Frederick, Brad Bell, 7 News.
I'm Kevin Lewis in Rockville, where around 3:50 this morning, floodwaters poured into the basement units at the Rock Creek Woods Apartments in Rockville. Rescue crews used inflatable boats to pluck people to safety. A 19-year-old man died. A second individual remains missing.
We're hoping that this person may have been visiting relatives or something right now, but we do not know.
This grassy area filled with people's belongings, a black leather couch, mattress, pillow, bicycle, and cabinet, among countless other items.
But I've never seen anything like that.
Gerardo Moran and his 2 siblings woke to the sound of thunder and people screaming for help.
We heard crashing from windows that were broken from the water.
A creek in neighboring Twin Brook Park flows into a culvert that runs below the apartment complex. Some think the culvert was partially obstructed or couldn't keep up with the flash flooding, sending water over this wall and into the parking lot.
150 people are displaced tonight. Earlier today, Executive Mark Elrich noted that he has lived in the county for 60 years and never seen anything quite like this. We're live in Rockville. I'm Kevin Lewis, 7 News.
All right, Kevin, where the rain's still coming down. We appreciate that. Thanks. Let's go back now to Annapolis, where Justin Hinton with a look at the damage there from the tornado that hit the ground there. Justin?
Yeah, that's right, Jonathan. We moved a couple of blocks down from West Street where a lot of that damage was, but there is a lot of damage in this neighborhood. Take a look. This tree absolutely uprooted. It knocked over and went into this person's car. We checked with both of those residents. They said they are doing fine. But then you swing around this way, you see another tree that was uprooted, blocking part of the street here. You have a roof that's behind that house. That roof is gone, and just more and more damage all across this region. Certainly a sad sight. I was talking to a police officer. He said he's been working in this field for 25 years. He said he's never seen anything quite like this. So certainly a site that is going to take a lot of cleanup. But the good news about all of this is that there have been no reported injuries. And at the end of the day, you take a look right up there, and you can see the faint sign of a rainbow. I'll send things back into you.
And this pales in comparison to the damage in Louisiana as floodwaters there still receding. Power is still out, and now there are shortages of gas and food. The president is going to visit that area on Friday. Our coverage from the hard-hit state along the Gulf of Mexico continues at 6:30 during World News Tonight with David Muir, and Bill Kelly is back with an updated forecast.
7 News on your side now with the coronavirus pandemic update for you. We're learning how many Virginia Tech students left mid-semester after failing to meet the campus COVID vaccine mandate.
And the severe weather threat is not over yet as Mobile Track 7 continues to scope out the damage in Edgewood. Ahead, we're finding out just how widespread the damage is. We are back now with more damage from Edgewater, Maryland. A massive tree coming down on a car. You can see it absolutely crushed it. Thank goodness, still no reports of injuries. We just learned at least 100 homes were severely damaged. 7 News on your side will have updates from this part of Maryland throughout the night here and on the free 7 News app.
Well, happening tomorrow in federal court in Alexandria, one of 2 British nationals charged with joining ISIS and planning to kill American and European hostages in Syria is set to plead guilty. Now, he was part of an ISIS group called the Beatles because of their British accents. They were brought to the U.S. last year to face criminal charges. And after a crime spree in which half a dozen people were kidnapped and forced to withdraw money from their ATMs in D.C., an arrest has been made tonight, and we're learning that the person in custody is just 14 years old.
And good evening, everybody. We have a very strong storm moving through the area right now in the D.C. metro, blinding rain. We're going to have an update for you as to when this all comes to an end coming up in just a minute.
6 kidnappings in D.C. over 5 days. Last week, the victims forced to ATMs to withdraw money.
Very troubling story we've been following closely, and tonight a break in this case, an arrest. But D.C. Bureau Chief Sam Ford reports that the teen taken into custody isn't even old enough to drive.
Police believe the 14-year-old they arrested was part of a group that accosted a man here in the 500 block of 13th Street Northeast.
The man said he was walking here en route to work 3:30 a.m. last Saturday when police believe these suspects approached. One pulled a gun on him, two put a hood over his head and zip-tied his hands. Police believe they took him in this recovered carjacked car to an ATM. The victim says forced to reveal his PIN, and they stole $1,400. 6 people fell victim between Tuesday and Saturday of last week.
Obviously, police are hoping the arrest of the 14-year-old will lead to others. Reporting from Northeast Washington, Sam Ford, 7 News.
And 7 News is on your side covering COVID-19 vaccines. New information from Virginia Tech about its campus-wide mandate. 134 students no longer enrolled because they have not met the university's requirement. The Roanoke Times reporting that that's out of an expected 37,000 students this year. Now, this update does follow the University of Virginia's less than 2 weeks ago when 238 students unenrolled because they did not meet UVA's vaccine policy. And Storm Track 7 does remain on weather alert. And take a look at this video that was sent to us by Orlando from Frederick. Look at the water moving there. This is supposed to be a covered bridge going over Carroll Creek. Now the creek is going almost over the bridge. It's completely underwater. It is still rising, the water there. And we're also seeing flooding in neighboring Fairfax County. That's where 7 News' Carl Willis is.
Hours after that initial flooding a Wednesday morning here in Fairfax County, we arrived here at Morningside Drive and saw Crook Branch Creek overflowing, swelling over the road, a little bit of debris from all the trees in the area, all leading to this, a huge waterfall.
And when you see that rushing water, you know, we've talked about this so much. The month of August, so wet, and then you get this to start September.
Very unpredictable. And, you know, this is Ida, what we're seeing now, and this was a lot. At 3:30 this morning, Bill,
Yeah.
I think most everybody I spoke to today said that they were shook out of bed because it wasn't just the lightning show that was going on. That thunder was something else, like a truck driving down the street.
Absolutely. I got to tell you, I was here till 3 o'clock in the morning with Veronica covering that. I left right around the time after any kind of the tornado warnings that were down to the south expired. It was the single toughest drive in the rain I've ever had in my entire life in Fairfax County. You could not see anything. It was something to remember for sure. Here's what it looks like right now. We are seeing another batch of some heavy rainfall working through the D.C. metro. You know, zooming on down, heavy rain coming in, although I'm looking at what's called the velocity. I do not see any rotation in this at all. See some gusty winds, but nothing that's rotating, which is, of course, good. And then I'm looking down here into Charles County over into Anne Arundel, where we've seen a lot of this activity today in terms of the storms. This goes down to the northern neck as well. And again, monitoring any kind of rotation. There could be a little bit here just south of Allen's Fresh, where we had a tornado today, by the way, and then down south of Colonial Beach. Nothing that's really jumping out, but the reason I'm watching it is because we still have a tornado watch in effect for this area. No active warnings right now. If they're issued, we'll let you know. But you saw the reports. You saw Brad and Victoria up there into our northern areas. This is where the rainfall has just been incredible today, and you've seen the flooding videos. It takes time. This is where all the flood warnings are, and I expect it to remain that way for longer than the storm is going to be here because it takes time for that water to rush out. So in freshly updated Futurecast, doing a great job showing you around the D.C. area, south into southern Maryland, the northern neck. Let me take you literally hour by hour. So things are improving dramatically. By next hour, we'll be tracking it still definitely in Maryland, southern Maryland, maybe up into parts of northern and around the district. But by 8 and 9 o'clock, so only a few hours from now, we're really going to see some significant improvements, most notably in our north and western zones where we've had the heaviest of the rainfall. But it will start to taper off as this overall system finally gets out of here. By 10 o'clock tonight on our sister channel 8, we'll probably be tracking more showers. Unlikely that we'll be tracking severe weather at that time. And then by 11 o'clock here on 7 News, I think we'll have just a handful of areas where there's active rain coming down. By midnight, it's for the most part gone, and by tomorrow morning's drive, so 12 hours from now, it's long gone, and that is going to open up the door for a beautiful day. We have a lot of sunshine mixed in with a few clouds, but it will be a little bit breezy. These northwest winds, the biggest thing you will notice outside of the obvious that it's not raining is that the humidity levels, for the first time in about a month, maybe a little less, will finally drop to levels that are dry, technically dry. And by Friday morning, we'll see widespread lows, Saturday as well, down into the 50s. You got to go all the way back to the beginning of August to have a stretch of some nice dry weather like that in terms of the humidity and stuff. So it's nicely timed for the Labor Day weekend, but we have just a couple hours left that we're going to be focusing in. Not out of the question for a new tornado warning to be issued. If it is, of course, we're going to be on the air. We'll let you know about it, regardless if it's here during the newscast or if it happens to be during the game shows or prime time. Scott, we'll send it over to you.
And now, the Toyota Sports Desk, sponsored by your Toyota dealers.
New tonight on 7 News, it's a big upcoming weekend for the DC Sports Hall of Fame. On Sunday at Nats Park, the class of 2020 and the class of 2021 will officially be inducted. Just a short time ago, I spoke with Washington football great Gary Clark, who was one of the 15 inductees into the Hall of Fame. Now, Clark is no stranger to Hall of Fames. He's also in the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame, the James Madison University Athletics Hall of Fame, and the Washington Football Team Ring of Honor. But this one, being honored by the city he played in, means a lot to the two-time Super Bowl winner.
Oh, it's huge. Being able to go into the Hall of Fame in the town that you played. I played 8 years here in Washington, and some of the best years of my life, 100%. I was able to win a couple Super Bowls here. I got some of my teammates are coming out to share that special day with me, which, without those individuals, I would have never had a chance to go in there at all. And to have the city respond back and offer me an opportunity to be in their Hall of Fame with all these other great sports stars, it's just a dream come true, actually.
Always great catching up with Gary. You can watch our entire conversation, including his thoughts on the one Hall of Fame missing from his resume, the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. That's on the website right now, wjla.com/sports. Now, Sunday's induction ceremony will begin at noon on the field at Nats Park. Other big names going into the DC Sports Hall of Fame include John Lucas, Jill Ellis, and Paul Rabel. Michelle?
Good stuff. Thank you, Scott. Next at 6, we remain on weather alert all evening, even right here. The rain coming down at the Capitol as a flood watch continues across the region.
Bill's going to check back in with another look at the forecast before we send you off to World News Tonight. Back right after this. I want to show you something. 7 News drone now flying over the damage on Drew Street, Annapolis. A large tornado hit about 2:30 this afternoon. Look at what the folks there are having to deal with.
Yeah, a lot of folks just getting out to realize the amount of damage that has happened. And this is just one block, and this plays out many times over in different neighborhoods, but you see tree after tree toppled over. Anne Arundel County telling 7 News at least 100 homes were damaged. We do have crews out there right now, and they'll be reporting for us live at 11 tonight. But let's get an update from Bill.
Yeah, really scary to see those. We'll have tornado warnings that we cover, but it is not very often, fortunately, that we have a tornado signature that actually has a debris ball signature, meaning stuff has been lifted and put into the air that shouldn't be there, and to be able to track it for dozens of miles. It's just been pretty amazing to see, and hopefully it remains that few, if anybody, injured out of that. Still got some storms that we're monitoring, especially off to the south. The rain now moving out of the D.C. area. It's picking up speed, running at about 40 miles per hour. But right now, we're keeping a close eye on it. No warnings in our area. We'll let you know if there is any issue.
All right, Bill, thank you. World News Tonight with David Muir is coming up next.
It's been a busy day. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you back here tonight at 11. In the meantime, have a good night.